Good morning and welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon Kardos and welcome to my very first YouTube video ever. So I'm really excited to get started, to be with you guys here today. So I want to start today by talking about the number of teachers who are leaving the teaching profession. That's the whole reason that I wanted to start this channel. I've seen in social media, in articles I've been reading about the number of teachers who are leaving the teaching profession, and it really makes me very sad. And I'm hoping that by starting this channel, I can offer some tips and tricks that will help other people, especially beginning teachers, but maybe veteran teachers who are in the trenches day to day, and maybe just give some fresh perspective. So again, my name is Sharon Kardos. I've been a teacher for over 30 years, and I have been an instructional coach. I've been a mentor teacher, so I have some ideas for you. So the first idea I'm going to throw out there today is I want to give you a technique that you can implement in your classroom today. Now, in later videos, we'll talk about building relationships with your students and that sort of thing. But today, I just wanted to give you a technique that you can implement today. This is my number one technique that I talk to all my beginning teachers about. That technique is called the pause and scan. Okay, the pause and scan technique. What is it? Well, it is exactly what it sounds like. It is a time in the middle of your lesson where I want you to just pause, stop talking, and scan the classroom and notice what is going on in your classroom at that moment. You would be surprised at how many teachers just don't remember to do this. They've spent hours creating this wonderful, perfect lesson, and they want to get through it all, or they feel pressure to cram as much information into those little brains as possible before the next bell rings, okay? And I totally understand that pressure, but it doesn't matter how great your lesson is if no one is listening to you, or if the kids aren't tuned in or paying attention or doing what you've asked them to do. It doesn't really matter how great your lesson is because they're not going to hear anything that you're saying. So pause and scan. So we got to remember to do it. That's number one. So I see a lot of teachers who, even though they hear that little undercurrent of talking, they don't stop and address it, okay? They don't even know who's doing it because they're so focused on getting through their lesson. So that would be an opportune time to pause and scan. When you're teaching, you hear that little soft undercurrent of talking. It may not be too loud, maybe not be too distracting for you. It might be for the person sitting next to the one that's talking, okay? But you just got to get through your lesson. You got to stop. You got to pause and scan, and you got to figure out who's doing that talking, okay? Or who's making that noise, that banging with the pencil, or whatever it is that you need to stop. So while you're teaching, undercurrent of talking or some other noise or distraction, you're going to use the pause and scan technique. Okay, when else are we going to use it? Well, we're going to use it during transitions. So let's say you have asked your students to take out their Chromebooks and a piece of paper and a pencil. You're going to give them a minute to comply with that, and then you're going to pause and scan the room and make sure that they're doing what you're asking them to do. Okay, don't just keep going, like wait, because almost invariably you will have a couple of students who have not done what you have asked them to do. So you want to make sure that you pause and scan and you notice what's happening in your classroom. So undercurrent of talking, transitions, think time. So let's say you've posed a question to your class, you're giving them some think time to what's the measure of the missing angle, they're working. This is an absolutely awesome time for you to pause and scan your room. Notice that kid who has his earbud in still, even though you've asked him to take it out, or the kid who's got their phone under their desk, or notice the kid who's like leaned back in his chair talking to the kid behind him. Okay, those are opportunities when they should be working something out, they should be thinking during the wait time, that you're pausing and scanning your classroom and you're just noticing what's going on in your classroom. Your administrators are going to love it. Administrators call this with itness. Okay, do you have with itness? Are you noticing what is happening in your classroom? And the pause and scan technique is going to help you ace this area of your observation. So remember to do it, know when to do it. When you hear that talking, transition times, during your think time or wait time. There are other times when you can use it, obviously, but those are three of the best times. And if you can't remember to do it, Build it into your slides. Put a little symbol in your slides to remind yourself to pause and scan the room. I've even told some of my beginning teachers before, put a sign on the back of your classroom wall to remind yourself to pause and scan. The kids don't have to know what it means, but you'll know what it means, and it'll help you remember to pause and scan. Okay, so let's say you've paused, you've stopped talking, you've scanned the room, and you have found students not doing what you've asked them to do. So what comes next? What do you do? So one of the best things that you can do is to give positive reinforcement to the students who are doing what you asked them to do. So let's say that I have asked them to take out their Chromebook, a piece of paper, and a pencil. So I'm going to give them a minute to comply. And then I'm going to start noticing the students who have done what I've asked them to do. Giselle, thank you so much for taking out your Chromebook. I appreciate it. You look ready to go. Or Joshua, thank you. You look ready. Row 1, I did this yesterday. Row 1 looks ready. Thank you. Let's move on. Row 2. All right, I'm almost ready in row 2. All right, okay, now we're ready. So giving positive reinforcement to those students who are doing what you've asked them to do. That's one thing that you can do when you notice students aren't doing what they're supposed to be. So what else could we do? You can use proximity. So let's say you're teaching, you've got this fabulous lesson, but you hear that little undercurrent of talking. What do you do? How do you handle it? Well, this is why I like to use my iPad, because I'm going to use proximity. I don't want to be stuck at my board. I don't want to be stuck by my ViewSonic. I want to be able to walk around and teach as I'm walking around the room. So I pause and scan. I've noticed little Joshua in the back. He's not focused in. So I'm going to, as I'm continue teaching now, I'm going to walk over and stand next to Joshua. Okay. I'm not going to say anything to him, but if he was talking, he's going to stop talking. Okay, if he wasn't focused in, all of a sudden, trust me, he is focused in, because I am standing right next to him and he does not like it. Okay, so you can use proximity. So positive reinforcement, proximity. Third thing that you can do is you can verbally redirect students. Now, some beginning teachers are a little bit timid about this one, okay, but it's okay to call on a student by name and ask them in a polite and respectful way to follow your instructions. It could be as simple as, Joshua, focus this way, please. Or George, could you turn around and put your 2 knees under your desk? Thank you. Using please, thank you, that will help your students to comply. So positive reinforcement, proximity, and then just verbally redirecting students. Now, obviously, it doesn't work 100% of the time, but it's going to work most of the time. So pause and scan. Notice what is going on in your classroom. I guarantee you it's going to help. And if you already use pause and scan, you're still having some issues, try implementing pause and scan more frequently in your classroom. Try building it in and see if that helps with classroom management. And just the pause and scan for me helps me to give me a moment as well to just kind of like take a breath and center myself and not necessarily have to like continue rushing through my lesson. Because like we said at the beginning, you can have the best lesson in the world, but if no one is paying attention to what you're saying, it doesn't matter how great your lesson is. All right, that's all I have for you today. And thank you for watching this far in the video. If you liked it, subscribe to the channel, because I promise you I'm going to be posting more videos. And if you have any comments, please put them in the comments section. I would love to see what you have. Thank you. Bye.